Hey guys, what's going on? This is DJ and producer Christo Electric. I have been meaning to create some tutorials here for a while, just haven't found the time, but I actually got a request in from Tyson, a message on Facebook saying, "Hey Christo, can you please create a video explaining the purpose of putting effects like reverbs on auxiliary channels? I notice producers are doing this in their videos, but they never explain why. It just seems like more unnecessary channels. I use Logic 9, thanks." Yeah, not a problem, man. Tyson, I'll go ahead and explain it here for you really fast. Everyone, please excuse, I'm getting over a cold right now, so my voice is going in and out. But nonetheless, let's get underway. I don't use Logic 9 anymore, Tyson, but this process is virtually the same in Logic 9. This is 10, just the more recent version. And it's really similar in all DAWs. Like Pro Tools here is a little bit different. You actually, in your new channel strip, you'll actually have an auxiliary channel that you can create in Pro Tools. But Logic's a little bit easier, so let's go ahead and explain it. There's a few reasons for it. First of all, let's go ahead and open up the mixer window here. I'm going to reduce these guys a little bit. And there you go. And expand the mixer window. And you can see, I'm just talking here on this channel, but the smart thing to do off the back, because I'll color all my auxiliary channels one color, but color code everything. It'll help a lot if you color code all your channels the same for every track, then you can go back to them and I know all the blues are for my drum kit, and greens are for leads or pianos, that kind of stuff. So anyway, let's get underway. We'll solo out here the piano so you can hear what it sounds like. And this is dry, of course. Nothing's going on here, but obviously some notes plucking back and forth. So let's go ahead and you asked reverb, so let's do that specifically. So with Logic, what's really cool is you just go in here. This is your sends channel and create a bus. You can see I already have a bus created, so go to the next available bus or whatever bus you want. You have loads of them. I'm going to go to bus 2 here. And when I do that, it automatically creates a channel here for me, a channel strip. This is auxiliary channel strip, and it'll always default to whatever bus 2, so auxiliary 2, it'll default to that number. So I'm going to double click this just for house cleaning. Let's call this reverb. And the first thing with reverbs, at least, what I like to do is create an EQ. The EQ in here is different anyway, so I'm a FabFilter fan. I'm going to go in here, and I already have this set up, but I have a low cut. And by doing a high-pass filter like this, it clears out all this low-end frequency out of your reverbs, and it really helps to clean up your audio signal in the final project. When you get to your master, it helps clean up the muddy low end. So that's a good habit to get into. And let's go ahead and I'll just create the reverb because it looks the same. You have the Space Designer, and let's go ahead and just pick. Let's do a really obvious outdoor space. Where are they at? Indoor spaces. How about that? I like whatever, this works. Okay. And this is just to make it really obvious. So you see right here, I have set up my reverb and I sent the bus to it, right? So pretty much all I'm doing, I'm sending a signal to this strip right here, and this will then be sent to the output. But where's my reverb, right? Well, you actually treat this pot right here as a wet-dry knob. So up is wet, down is dry. That means you won't hear any signal, the infinity signal. So listen as I slowly add in some reverb. And obviously you can get really deep with this. Something I always make sure, at least on the auxiliary channels, when I create something specifically for the auxiliary channel, I always make sure to keep this dry knob completely down, because when you start adding multiple tracks, they're all going through this, it just helps keep the signal cleaner. So you can use the wet dry knob here, and whatever, I'll leave it at the default, but yeah, I always keep that dry knob down. So I'll find an acceptable level, or a level I like. And that sounds pretty good. Let's actually set it up like a concert hall. There you go. So there you go. There's some reverb. So what are the benefits? It looks like, rather than, simply put, you could just put a reverb right on here, right? Well, what's the problem with that? When you end up getting a song that's 20, 30, 40 tracks deep, it becomes an issue if you're using reverbs and delays on each track individually, especially when you get something like the signal chain here that I have on my talkover. You get that many kinds of plugins on each one of these channels. That's so much processing for your computer to do. So you make an auxiliary channel to really free up your computer. So by doing this, I can also go in here, let's say to my claps, okay? And I'll do this to snares and claps. And I'll also send that to the same reverb. And let's bring in the claps. So I like that right there. Both of these instruments are going to the exact same reverb unit. You can see right there, I've already cut in half, the processing, I've cut out a whole reverb unit. Well, I might also add this same reverb on, like the lead vocals or maybe some pads or something. And the good thing with reverb is you always, after you choose a reverb setting, generally speaking, for almost all tracks, you're going to use the same reverb setting. So like in this case, Old Concert Hall, for all those tracks. The reason being, if you start adding, let's say, a small bathroom reverb with a auditorium reverb with an outside medium forest reverb, whatever, and you add these all individually on your tracks, it ends up becoming confusing. Wow, excuse me. It becomes confusing to the listener. Maybe it's subconscious, but it really adds a lot of mud or a lot of extra depth to the track that you don't need. You're not going to listen. When you listen to a choir or whatever, or you go to an orchestra, they're performing in one area, right? They're performing inside of that concert hall. So every instrument would be sent to a concert hall, and you'd add more or less depth depending on how close they are to you. But you're not going to add one to whatever, a small gymnasium setting, and one to a massive cathedral setting, and it just doesn't make sense. So this makes sending it all to that same auxiliary channel really makes a lot of sense, saves up processing power. Well, I've already set up something else in here to show you another use for an auxiliary channel. And I'm going to unsolo these. And I just put together this little bit of a snippet of a track really fast just for demonstration purposes. But so let's go ahead and close out of this. And this is also an auxiliary unit. Okay, so you can see this is set to bus 2. Inside of here, and I'm just showing you, bus 1 is drums, right? So it's being sent to this guy. Well, instead of going to my outs, I have the kick, clap, and just the percussion layers right here. Rather than going to the main stereo output, I outputted them to bus 1. This being bus 1, and then bus 1 goes out to the stereo master out, okay? So if I mute this, you have no drums. It kills all 3 of these channels because all 3 of these are inputted in here. Well, what's the purpose for this? Well, when you decide on your levels, I got to get my voice in here. So when I decided on these levels, you can see I pre-mixed these down. And I set on those, and I know I want those levels the way they are. And it makes more sense even, you have less automation, that kind of stuff, when you're doing like a recorded live drum kit or something for maybe a rock or a pop song or something. Well, then you send them all out to a single auxiliary bus like this. So drums, I might have all my vocals, my backing vocals. they're sent to their own buses. And then when you get to mixing, I leave this at 0 or infinity. And right now it's not. There, you send it here, and then when you get to the final mixing stage, rather than going in here and moving each dial down like that, or even having to group them and move all these individual dials, you just leave them hammered in where you want them, and then you can set the level like so. Also, I usually leave this channel dry, but like for drums, I might put a single compression unit on here, and I'll compress all the drums together. There's a compressor. And I might compress all the drums together. Let's just do a default setting. And I have one compressor running for all three of these guys, rather than a compressor, which a lot of times is necessary, especially for kicks. Especially if you have like a sub kick and your normal high kick. But anyway, I'm getting somewhat off topic here. It just really saves up processing power, and it simplifies when you get down to the mixing stage. The auxiliary channels will really simplify also things for you. So anyway, in a nutshell, that's what it's for. I hope this video helped. If you guys have any more questions or you want some more tutorial videos made, go ahead and leave like a comment below this video, or feel free to message me here on SoundCloud or YouTube or SoundCloud or Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want. And whenever I get time, I'll try to make some more videos. So thank you so much. Make sure to subscribe. Check out my other videos I currently have. Follow me, like me, all that fun stuff. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and I look forward to our next meeting. As for now, enjoy. Take it easy.